Good evening, everyone. My name is Rainey Bastarach with the American School of Hypnosis, and tonight we are doing a lesson on the Total Habit Replacement Program for the Advanced Hypnosis course. So I'd like to welcome you all, and let me go ahead and tell you first of all what we're going to be doing tonight, and then tell you what this Total Habit Replacement Program is. In the instructions, or in the, I guess you could say, the format for the Advanced Hypnosis class, it states we're going to learn to be 100% successful in hypnosis. And I will kind of tack on a little disclaimer to that later. But we're going to be 100% successful, meaning as long as you do your job right. But again, a lot of things can happen. If you have a client that really doesn't want to be hypnotized, you can't do much about that. So I'm going to teach you how to be successful on your end with what you're doing. And you're going to learn about the habit creation process, a generic daily follow-up program we're going to speak about. Actually, I'm going to be giving you a royalty-free script that you can use. It's a generic one, meaning you could use it for virtually any topic that someone wants to be hypnotized for. That will be posted in the advanced course. When you're looking at the videos, you'll see it right there on the right on your hub page in a PDF format, so you can copy that and use it on your own. And towards the end of today's webinar, we're going to be having a live session by Raluca, and she's actually going to be doing this Total Habit Replacement Program, what we call the Theater of the Imagination, on you. So, should be a lot of fun. Let's get started. What is the Total Habit Replacement Program? Okay, this is something we've had it around for probably a few years now. It's been very successful. And what it is, we call it the next generation in hypnosis. And what I mean by that is, throughout the years, doing hypnosis sessions, and I'm sure you've all seen this, sometimes they're hit or miss. Is it going to work? Is it not going to work? And just through some of the talks we've had over the last few weeks and some of the people we've interviewed, asking questions and answers and actually on the telephone, one of the things that comes up a lot is the fear of success. Will the session work? That has always been a problem with traditional hypnosis, the way it's been conducted in the past. That's the reason why we did a lot of research, there's a lot of research behind this, the Total Habit Replacement Program. Now, I have no fear, is it going to work? If the person understands the language and wants to be hypnotized, okay, as long as they're not rebellious, this process will work if they follow the process, okay? That's simple. And I'm going to liken it to, let's say, penicillin, okay? If those of you know, when someone gets pneumonia, they prescribe them penicillin. I think now it's like for 10 days they have to take it. It used to be a few weeks. But the way penicillin works, okay, it will help you the very first day. You'll feel great, but the doctor says you have to take it all 10 days if you want to kick the pneumonia out of you completely. So what happens? A lot of people will take it for a day, 2 days, 3 days. I feel great, and they won't take it anymore, and they get a relapse, and they get pneumonia again. Well, this program, when I get into it, you'll see what I mean, is the same way. When I say that people who follow the program, who do it the way it's supposed to be done, will be successful, that means they have to follow it for the entire length of time to create a habit. Now, what's going to happen is they're going to leave your office, they're going to say, I feel great, and a few days later they're still going to say, I feel great, everything's perfect, and they're going to stop. If they stop, there's a very good chance they'll relapse. If they don't, they're going to be successful. So that's, I guess, the easiest way to look at it. It's a scientific process, just like taking penicillin. If you do it, it works. If you don't, it don't. That's simple. But let me go ahead and let's talk a little bit more about it. So bluntly, the Total Habit Replacement Program simply works if it's followed. Let's talk about how it started. Let me get into the history of it, okay? I've been doing hypnosis since the 90s, I guess. I can't remember the exact date. But I know right from the beginning, when I first was taught how to do hypnosis, okay, I was taught you do a one-stop shop, one session, okay? Again, I was naive, didn't know any better, because that's how you're taught. Or that's how I was taught at the time. So what I would do is I'd hypnotize somebody to quit smoking or stress, confidence, whatever it is. And again, I wouldn't see them again, so I thought it was working great. You talk to people about what's their success rate. Well, if they never see anybody, they don't know. Then I went to a training probably about a year later where I was with a bunch of other hypnotherapists, and the instructor says, how many of you do at least 8 sessions, per client? And a few people raise their hand. How many of you do 4? A lot of people raise their hand. How many of you do only 1? Out of like 20 people, I was the only one that raised their hand. Oops, I was missing the boat, I found out. So then I started doing the 4-week hypnosis sessions that probably most of you are doing, a minimum of 4 weeks. And there's a reason why they say 4 weeks, okay? And we'll get into that, like I said, later on when we talk about the program. But here's what I found happen. With the majority of my clients, I'd hypnotize them, let's say, to quit smoking or whatever. Let's use smoking as an example. They'd quit smoking. They'd leave my office saying, this session was the best thing since buttered bread. I feel great. The hypnosis worked wonderfully. I know that I quit. They'd leave the office a non-smoker. The second day, they'd feel still good. The third day, they'd start to waver a bit. The fourth day, sometimes I'd get a call, or sometimes they'd start jonesing, I guess you can call it that. Then around the 5th and 6th day, they might stop back. When they come back and see me the following week, if they are smoking, what do they say? I don't think I was hypnotized last week. Even though when they left, they thought it was the best thing since buttered bread, okay? I don't think I was hypnotized. That would be really frustrating. So I'd hypnotize them again. At the end of the session, wow, this is great. I don't know what happened when I came in here, but I'm doing good. And the same thing would happen. 2 days, 3 days, great. 4 and 5 days, and 6 days, they'd probably start up again. And this was going on all 4 weeks. Well, 3 that I knew of. The 4th week, of course, I didn't see them anymore. So I started to wonder, why is this happening? Why are people losing it as they go? Now, every time they come to see me the following week and thought they weren't hypnotized the previous week, I had to convince them that they were hypnotized. And if you notice in my hypnosis manual, we have the post-hypnotic worksheet, which was a worksheet I fill out right after they open their eyes from hypnosis. I'd say, how long did you feel like you were in hypnosis? Of course, they usually say 5 minutes. When it was actually 30 minutes, you'd write that down. Did you feel a heaviness or a lightness in your chair? You'd write that down. All the different signs of hypnosis. Did they go into REM? What did they say? How did they feel? So this way, when they came back the following week, I'd say, hey, remember this, remember that? And they go, maybe I was in hypnosis. Okay? Since I've been doing the Total Habit Replacement Program, I don't fill out that form anymore. I don't need it. People don't come back and say, I wasn't in hypnosis last week, because they feel good. It's a scientific thing. It's not a hit or miss. So anyways, I had that problem, and I was really getting worried about it. What do I do? What do I do? So as a result of that, I started doing some research. As a matter of fact, there was 4 of us at the time doing research. I gave different people different, I guess you could say, jobs or processes I wanted to look into to put this program together. So we started researching all 4, and of course it started to expand a lot. And we finally ended up with this program that we call the Total Habit Replacement Program. But it went through a little process of tweaking. There was the first, I guess, the next generation A, when it first began, where it was a series of 5 sessions. Those are the ones you see in the manual. Those are all 5 sessions that I used to use on just about everyone. So I want to talk about that process and how we got it to the way it is right now, and how we do it, and how much more successful it is now than it ever has been before, and showing you how you can adapt that, okay? So what we found was, actually, first of all, when we researched, what we put into this is a mixture you're going to find of NLP, which is Neuro-Linguistic Programming, which you spoke about in one of the previous webinars. A lot of works with the law of attraction, having to do with how the mind works, so a lot of the traits of the mind. You'll even find one of our sessions has 2, I guess you could say, portions, or the backings of what they call from the Tibetan Buddhist meditation. So you'll notice 2 partial meditations from them. A lot of the works of Dr. Maxwell Maltz, for anyone's in the medical field, you've probably heard of him, and a lot of studies that were done at UCLA, which we'll speak about in just a few moments. So let's go ahead and talk about the science of it. Let's talk about Dr. Maxwell Maltz. Okay, Maxwell Maltz was actually a New York City plastic surgeon, and I guess this is where it kicked off. When I started reading things about him, matter of fact, I believe the name of it was Psychogenetics. If any of you have read that, this will sound a little familiar. If you haven't, read it. It's an excellent book. But anyways, what Maxwell Maltz found was he was wondering why when he would work on people, let's say somebody came in for rhinoplasty or whatever the problem was, imperfection in their face, he was a good plastic surgeon. He'd fix them, he'd help them out, they'd walk out of his office looking beautiful, but they still had the same negative self-image of themselves that they did before they came in. So this was quite puzzling to him. So I guess you could say that was a research of his. So what he started doing was he started to find out that if you give someone suggestions, positive suggestions, hypnosis, okay, that if they were given suggestions long enough, that they would change the way they looked at themselves. So he realized that everything about a person is their self-image. So how they look at themselves is very important. So he went through this process that he called mental plastic surgery. Didn't do it very long because, again, he needs to make money. But with his mental plastic surgery, what he would do was, before he was going to work on someone, let's say, again, if someone has a big nose and they don't feel, their self-image was really low for it, or big ears or whatever it was, he would basically tell them, he taught them self-hypnosis and told them to give themselves a positive suggestion that they looked fine the way they were, they looked beautiful the way they were, and continue giving themselves positive suggestion at least once a day, every single day. And he did this, he had them do it, and he found that if they did it for a minimum of 21 days in a row without missing a day, when they came back to see him, they felt fine and they didn't need the plastic surgery anymore because they completely changed their self-image. Through the suggestion, they were able to create a habit of seeing themselves as a beautiful person, even though they had this imperfection that they wanted fixed before. So the habit basically became permanent. It became automated to the point where they changed their mind about the way they look at themselves. Now, again, what he found was that for this process to work, it had to be suggestion every single day without missing for a minimum of 21 days. And for those of you that have been with us for a while, you'll realize when we first started this program, we were always talking about 21 days for change, 21 days for change. And you'll notice over probably the last year or so that we were saying it takes a minimum of 30 days. Why? Because it was a minimum of 21 days, and a lot of you were going out and doing it for 21 days period, but that's a minimum. Some people it took a little bit longer. So now by telling people to do it for a month, for 30 days, it's a little bit more better for the majority of people. How long will it take? It'll take as long as it takes. So look at it this way. Somebody wants to create a habit of something new. Have them do it as long as it takes to do it. It is a scientific process, but let's go a little bit beyond. Now, through other research that we've done, we found out about these groups of people that were basically studies that were done at UCLA, where people were given suggestions, and what they did was, just by giving somebody a suggestion once through their research, they found that giving somebody a suggestion once, that the majority, approximately 83% of the public, will, they called it dream out that suggestion, or that suggestion will fade away from, I guess, being acted on within approximately 3 to 5 days. So upon giving a suggestion once, they found 83% of the public within 3 to 5 days will go back to their original way of thinking. So think of that, 83% of the public. That means the other 17% of the public, they're the ones that if you gave them a suggestion just once, they were okay. You hypnotize them just once or give them a suggestion. They said suggestion, not really a whole session. But if they had a suggestion to quit smoking, they can do it on their own. If they had a suggestion to lose 20 pounds to get back into their college dress, maybe their prom dress so they can go to a reunion, they can do it. So these are the kind of people that has such a strong regimen that can do things on their own that aren't going to come see you as a hypnotherapist. Why should they? They did it on their own. So realizing that, instead of 83%, most of your clients are going to fall into this category because the other 17% aren't going to come see you anyway. So within 3 to 5 days, they're going to dream up a suggestion. So I started, when I did these studies, I started thinking about that. When I was doing my 4-week sessions, that's exactly what was happening. In about 3 to 5 days, the people would feel like wow, I feel like smoking. And they felt like smoking so much that a lot of times they were smoking by the time they came to see me. When they left, they felt great because they just got the suggestion, and then it kind of went downhill again. I had to hypnotize them, and it went back downhill, and I had to hypnotize them, and that's how it was working for most people. I know a lot of people out there that just do one session a week, say we have a 100% success rate. Yeah, they're probably checking 2 days later while somebody is still within the 3 to 5 day range, and of course they're going to say they're doing great because it hasn't faded out, okay? Because they're not going to call them a long time. Usually they call them shortly thereafter to see how they're doing. So again, that's not really a fair assessment. So 3 to 5 days, they're going to start fading away. So now let's combine the two. Maxwell malts every single day for a minimum of 30 days, and UCLA 3 to 5 days. Well, you never hit the 3 to 5 days if you're getting a suggestion every day. Doesn't that make sense? And that's exactly why we say every single day for a minimum of 30 days. And what happens in that 30 days, I'm not going to get too much into the technical stuff. You could read about it again in Maxwell Maltz's book. But basically what you're doing in a nutshell is you're rerouting your neural connections. They're rewiring them from one habit to another habit. I think the way he put it, it's kind of like a record. Okay, you have a record with one of the old 33 records there with the grooves, and you put the needle on it, and it keeps on going down the same grooves. That's your habit, okay? But if you took a knife and you made a thicker groove, which is the new habit, the record player is going to start taking that new groove, and it's going to keep on going that way. So basically, you're not eliminating the old habit, you're just covering it with the new one. So if you think of that, you're creating a new habit that's taking over on top of the old habit. So instead of saying you're a smoker, you're a smoker, you're a smoker, now you're a non-smoker rather than a smoker who quit for a day or a week. You're a non-smoker. So you're going to feel like a non-smoker, you're going to do great, but you want to make sure that these people don't test it. You know, there's nothing worse than the people saying, I wonder if I force myself to have a cigarette, if I could smoke one. You know, I mean, hypnosis is a helpmate. It's not a magic spell. If they used to go to the bars every night and have whiskey and have a cigarette at the same time, chances are if they go to the bar and have whiskey and have a cigarette, they're probably going to be smoking again. That's what they call falling off the wagon, okay? So it's a permanent habit, but you can always fall back to the previous one because it's still there. You created a habit, you just rerouted the neural connections to make a new habit, but the other ones are still there. So they can fall back off the habit, I guess you could say. And you see that with alcoholism, you see that with drug addiction, you see that because people are tempting it. You know, I mean, they've been sober for 6 months and then they have a drink to see if it works, you know. So you want to be careful of that. You want to let the people know. They want to be a non-smoker. They need to give it the commitment to being a non-smoker, okay? So like I said, let's go ahead and talk about the different process. So basically what you're doing is you are reprogramming yourself to being a non-smoker. Think of it. They created a habit of being a smoker. Somebody just didn't light a cigarette and be hooked on it for life. The majority of your clients, if you ask them how they felt right after they had their very first cigarette, 9 out of 10 of them will say it was terrible. They coughed, they gagged, their taste was bad, the smoke went in their nose, but guess what? They did it again. You think they wouldn't, but yeah, they did it again, and it got easier, and they did it again. They weren't gagging so much. They did it again, they did it again. Eventually, they even started to enjoy it, and it became an automated habit. That's how all habits are formed, through repetition. Think about it. Anything you do, I mean, walking, riding a bike, driving a car, juggling, anything got like that through repetition, even with your children. How do you build and develop their habits? Through having them do things over and over. All these habits become automated, become actually their belief system. That's why if you ask people, you know, what their favorite sport team is and what their favorite city or all these different things, they develop habits of those being the best because that's how they were conditioned repeatedly, okay? So it's called programming. So all of your choices, all of the things you like, your preferences, were programmed into you. Everything you do automatically was programmed into you, even brushing your teeth. So our job, and I said this in one of the previous lessons, our job as a hypnotist isn't to program people. It's to deprogram them, to reprogram them the proper way. They already have the negative programming. They already have the undesirable programming, and you need to use the same process they got that to reprogram them. So like I said, going back to smoking, they did it day after day after day, and after a month it became an automated habit. Now some of these people coming to see you are going to have been smoking for 25 and 30 years. That's a heavy-duty habit. And like I said this earlier, to think that you can just stop doing for an hour and I'm never think I'm smoking again is pretty naive. It's a habit. You need to create a habit for them to stop. One of the things that I like that Maxwell Maltz says, your self-esteem is kind of like having a rubber band between your two fingers, so you see this imaginary rubber band. I know what you're thinking. The instructor's too darn cheap to get a rubber band. Okay, I did have one here, but I think I flung it at the cat. Sorry, I didn't hit him. For those of you animal lovers, he threw it at me first. Okay, so anyways, picture an imaginary rubber band, unless Biscuit brings the band back, and this rubber band would represent your self-image. And he said you can never escape your self-image very long until you ultimately snap back to who you perceive yourself to be. You can never escape your self-image. You always are who you believe you are until you ultimately snap back to who you perceive yourself to be. So, person's a smoker who quit for a day, a smoker who quit for 2 days, 3 days, a week, 2 weeks, boom, he starts smoking again. That's why they need to create a new habit of being a non-smoker, a new habit of being fresh and clean and sober, a new habit of being positive-minded, of being loving, caring, whatever it is you're hypnotizing for. So they're creating a new habit, and eventually that will change their self-esteem, and they'll see themselves as the new habit, the new person. So that's what you're doing, is you're creating new habits. You are all reprogrammers. How's that? Now, the 21-day program, when it first started out, it was 5 scripts. Okay, the first one was the Mighty Oak Tree, which, for those of you who have seen that still today is my favorite script of all. It's a wonderful script. Then the second one got into NLP, basically regression, going back to what's the word I'm looking for? Anchoring, okay? We spoke about that a couple weeks ago. NLP anchoring, basically where you're anchoring some really good thing from the past to whatever it is you want to change. Let's say smoking, so every time you anchor this wonderful feeling to being successful, not having a cigarette, every time you say no to a cigarette, you get that wonderful feeling. So anyways, it brings you back to the past. You can do that. The third one was, I believe it was, I don't have them up front of me right now, so I'm kind of remember. It's been a while since I used those. The third one was, guilt release. Guilt and, wow, I shouldn't say I can't remember because that's how I'm programming myself. It was guilt. Reluca, what's the other word? She'll come up with it in a moment. I should have had these sessions up front of me. But anyways, guilt release. And forgiveness. Okay, so it had guilt and forgiveness. Yeah, I knew it would come up with it. So guilt and forgiveness therapy, and which was great. It helped an awful lot of people. But as time went on, I found that not everybody really needed that. The fourth one was a congratulation type, almost like a graduation type session. Why? Because they needed to have them come back the 4th week to get them there for the month, right? So that was that. And the 5th one was an in-between session that I had them listen to. It was only like a 10, 15-minute session every single day in between your live sessions to create that suggestion they get so they don't dream out the suggestion in 3 to 5 days. So that's pretty much how we used to do it. That worked out great because the Mighty Oak Tree, which is in our free hypnosis manual, for those of you that haven't seen it, is a generic session. All of them were basically generic. You could plug in whatever topic you were hypnotizing the person for, but it was a generic session that would work on virtually anything. So if I had somebody coming to see me and I didn't know really what to say to them or I didn't have a script for it, it worked wonderful. I believe the first one I did it for was a gentleman who had a foot fetish. He walked in the office, told me he had a foot fetish, and again, it kind of caught me off guard. Mighty Oak Tree came out, worked wonderful. I use it with anger issues, with a lot of different things. So when you're not sure, that's a great one for it. So as time went on, I realized, well, I didn't need number 2 and 3. So I was using the Mighty Oak Tree, and I was using the Theater of the Imagination. Of course, the 4th one was a follow-up. So, and I was doing whatever sessions I wanted in between. Now, oops, I just heard Raluca coming out. She's coming to give me the information, but I already remembered it. So thanks, Raluca. We're on a time delay. We're on a time delay, so she's coming out to give it to me. Now when she goes back into her office and listens to her computer, she's going to say, he already got it. And then about 2 minutes later, she's going to say, oh, that was me coming out of my office to tell him I have it. It's kind of funny. We're like always playing like a game of deja vu. I mean, she's only 5 seconds away in the other office, but when I speak to her on the computer, she hears it a minute later. So modern technology, isn't it wonderful? So anyways, what I would do is I would hypnotize a person with the Mighty Oak Tree on the first one. Let's say it's smoking again. I just use the Mighty Oak Tree. The second one, I would use whatever smoking session I wanted, but I would end it up with the active part, or I should say the script part of the Theater of the Imagination, which we're going to be doing here tonight. It's going to make a lot more sense when you hear it. And then, so each session, I'd always put that, I would always tack that onto the end of each session. Matter of fact, today I still do that. I always tack that onto the end of any session I'm giving. It just helps it to be a lot stronger. And then I would have them listen to the Theater of the Imagination every day in between. Okay, so I still have them come for 4 weeks. Now, as time went on, the next generation was I wasn't using the Mighty Oak Tree anymore because it's a wonderful session. It's completely self-contained, but it's 3/4 of an hour just a session alone. So I just started doing whatever session I needed as long as I ended it with the Theater of the Imagination. And what is the Theater of the Imagination? In a nutshell, it's imagining yourself as the goal you on a stage. You're imagining yourself, seeing yourself, feeling yourself, hearing yourself exactly the way you want to be. Because the subconscious mind doesn't understand the difference between a real or an imagined memory. So if you can imagine yourself as a certain way every single day for a minimum of 30 days, it's going to happen. You're going to reroute the neural connections the same way as before because you're creating a habit. So I would end any session with that, just in case the suggestions you gave weren't good enough or weren't exactly right. The subconscious mind knows how to heal itself. It knows what you want. So by hearing, see yourself as a goal you, that's exactly what it would do. So the client can help themselves better than I could by seeing themselves as the goal them. So that worked out really great. Now let me move down here with my notes. I get the beginning, the second, the third. So that's basically what I ended up with, was using the theater of the mind. Now, realizing that, okay, you can use that for just about anything. So let's say somebody comes, sees you for study habits. You would do your regular study habit session today, and you would take the theater of the mind and put it at the end. Now, the one we're going to be doing tonight is going to have an induction, a deepener, then the actual session. Just put the session on at the end of whatever you're hypnotizing for. So study habits, you're going to do your normal induction, depth test, deepener, your script, and at the end of the script, you're doing the theater of the imagination, and then your awakening. So it just makes a little bit longer script, I guess you could say, but you're going to see a really big difference. Now, because you did the theater of the imagination in the session that they came to see you for, when you're done, make sure they understood it. Were you able to see yourself sitting in the audience, as, let's say, the producer, and yourself on stage, and you're producing yourself to be how you want to be, however it's worded? Did they understand it? Were they able to do it? If they weren't, tweak it a little bit, because that's what they're going to take home with them today and do on their own tomorrow. Now, I tell them exactly what I told you a little while ago. It takes a minimum of 30 days to create a habit. So you need to listen to this session every single day for 30 days, except for the day you come see me, because I'm going to be doing it live. If you do that, you'll quit, or you'll attain your goal. If you don't, very good chance you won't. Now, if they don't do it, it's not your fault. You were unsuccessful. It's their own fault, because if they didn't do it, who do they get to blame but themselves? Because they're going to say, he told me that. And that's exactly it. When they come back and say, it didn't work, I say, you didn't listen to it, did you? No. That's their own fault. Okay, we'll start over again, but this time listen to it. Just like the penicillin scenario. Guy says, oh, my pneumonia's back. You didn't take the penicillin, all of it, did you? No, I stopped after 7 days. Works the exact same way. So now, rather than the hit or miss of, are they going to quit? Are they going to... It's not like that. It's basically a scientific thing. If you do it, it works. You're rerouting the neural connections. That's just the way the mind works, and they're going to be successful. So isn't that great? That's how you're going to get 100% of your clients, by doing it this way. So Raluca's going to be doing the session earlier, and I'm saying that right now because I want her to hear me, and she's going to start walking out of the room, so by the time it's time for her to start, she'll be here. And when she does it, again, you'll be going through it, but listen to it. Listen to what she's saying and follow the instructions, and you'll see it's a really neat concept of visualizing yourself, or I should say imagining yourself, as the goal you. We all understand the concept of thoughts become things. Okay, that's part of the subconscious mind. You need anything in this world is a thought first. The computer you're watching me on right now, somebody had to think about making that before they were able to make it with all the things they have on this earth, and that's how it came out. It might have been a lot better in their mind, but this is how it came out. My microphone here, my shirt, the filing cabinet behind me, everything was a thought first. Thought precedes the object. Thought precedes the effect. Nothing happens unless there was a thought first. If there was no thought, it's not there. So everything had a thought first. Even the words you say. Most people think about what they're going to say before they say it. Well, we wish they did. But you think about what you want to say, and you say it. Now, obviously, what you say isn't nearly as precise as what you think, because the subconscious mind is unlimited, and the conscious mind only takes bits and pieces. So it's like I guess you could say a cheap second. It's kind of like a man really loves a woman, and inside there's rainbows and flowers and colors, and he really wants to say how much he cares about her, and what comes out? You're cool. What's that? A woman told me she said that as her vows at her wedding. She says, I told him, you're cool. But she was like divorced a year later, so it probably wasn't the best vows. But inside she meant a lot more, okay? So thought precedes the action. So if you think of that, if there's no thought, there's no action. If somebody wants to be healthy, they have to think about being healthy before it happens, because if there's no thought, it's not going to happen. Well, it's the same thing with any of your clients. Before they can have the desired effect, they need to know what the desired effect was. So by seeing them on the stage, seeing themselves as the goal them, the way they want to be, exactly at that. We're not going to talk about feelings, emotions, because that really drives things stronger. To see themselves as the goal them, they had to plan it out. They're placing the order. They have the thought before the effect. And if that didn't happen, it would be about as silly as going into a restaurant, sitting there all day, and at 9 o'clock saying, hey, why didn't my food come? If you don't place the order, you don't get served, okay? So you need to place your order first, and that's what this is doing. It's placing the order. It's letting the guy know mentally, this is what I want, because most people don't know what they want. They'll just take whatever they can get, okay? So this is going to make people know what they want, understand it, and whatever it is they're trying to get is going to come a lot quicker. They're going to build a habit of it, and it's going to be a permanent habit. So with that, Raluca, are you coming out? While she's coming over here, I want to see if there's anything else. Oh, by the way, the script, like I said, we're actually making this a royalty-free script for you folks only for the people that purchase the Advanced Hypnosis course, which means you can use the script as your own, which means you can take it and you can record it in your own voice. Doesn't matter if you have music or not. You can take it and record it in your own voice and give it to the client with your picture on it, your business name, and tell them, listen to this each day. Now, it's only going to be, from beginning to end. Again, I'm not counting the deepener and all that. The whole thing's maybe, I don't know, 10 to 15 minutes top. So it's quick. It's not like having to record the whole session, because they're not going to listen to all that. It's too long. So tell them to listen to it once a day. In the morning's probably best, because it'll start their whole day off really good. They can listen to it, go through their day. It's going to give them energy. It's going to make them feel happy. So it's like tell them it's like an extra cup of coffee, okay, to go through the day, because we all love coffee. It's a natural replacement for sleep. So they can listen to this in the morning, and it'll do great. And you'll find that when they come back, if they look really happy, they will listening to it each day, because it will make a difference. So anyways, it's royalty free. You can use it. You can record it. If you don't want to make a recording or a CD or an MP3 to give to them, okay, take a few minutes after the session. You've explained this to them, and just read it to them, just the active part, not the whole beginning part, just the active part of the theater of the mind, and teach them self-hypnosis, because I use that exact same thing you're going to be seeing here for self-hypnosis. Tell them to just sit in a quiet place, imagine yourself, on a stage or on the screen as the goal you. So just have them imagine themselves the exact same thing. So if they could take 5 minutes a day, if they don't want to listen to it, you don't want to make a CD, teach them to take 5 minutes a day, sit there, close their eyes, and do that. It will do the same thing. One last thing I wanted to mention to you before Raluca takes over. A lot of people say, well, if I can just listen to this one CD every single day for 30 days, why should they even come see the hypnotherapist? Good point, isn't it? Because if you gave the guy the CD, he could listen to that again and again and again for any problem, because the same one that you give him for smoking is generic. You don't have to say the word smoke. He could use it for stress, for confidence, give it to his mother, his brother, and his sister, okay? Don't think it's going to lose business, okay? Because what's going to happen, they're going to be so excited about it, they're going to tell people about you, and you're going to get more business. They're not going to give it to their brother and sister. They're going to say, hey, you get your own, I paid for this. But the reason why they should come see you, and you're saying, should they come see you? Yes, they should, because they're coming to see you once a week. It's a follow-up. It's a reckoning, okay? By me having to come back and see you, you say, how did you do this week? Well, I didn't listen to it Tuesday and Thursday, and you can get on their case. You got to do it, because what's going to happen if they just went 30 days, after 12 days, 9 days, whatever, they're going to stop. And they're going to blame it on you, but it's their fault. Okay, so by coming to see you each week, you can tweak it. You can, and of course, they get to tell you, I'm having a problem with this or that, and you can help to tweak that a little bit too. So the follow-up, what I call the reckoning, is very important. It's a lot stronger. Okay, it seems like as long as people come to see you, they stay on the straight and narrow. When they stop coming to see you, they don't care. Well, if I don't do it, who do I have to worry about? But if well, Saturday, I've got to go back and see that hypnotist. I better continue doing this. I'll be embarrassed to say that I stopped. You see what I mean? Because they don't want to say it was their fault. So it is important that they have the follow-up. Now, I'm saying 4 weeks. If you're already doing 6 weeks or 8 weeks and it's working great, continue. But the follow-up is just going to make it work better. So with that, I want to thank you all for coming, and don't go anywhere. Okay, get yourself comfortable, because in just a couple minutes, Raluca will be doing the Theater of the Imagination. I'm even going to have her do the announcement. You're going to see when you get the Theater of the Imagination, there's an announcement about 5 or 6 things they need to do to prepare. I would suggest that you read, you recite that right on your recording as well, and you'll see what they are. I mean, a couple might make you laugh, but it's important that they hear them. So Raluca's going to read them to you just like they would be said on a CD. So with that, I'm going to actually put a nice picture here for you to focus on, nice focal point. And what I'm going to tell you about this picture is that it is a picture of something in my yard. And I don't know how good you folks are on flowers, what you know about flowers, but if anybody wants to type in what kind of flower that is, I want to see how... what is it, hydroponically correct you are. see how good you are at flowers. But it's something that one of my favorite flowers, and once you answer what it is, you'll see why. So she's going to come on here in a second, and just so you know, right afterwards, when you're kind of waking up and thawing out, I will be asking you for questions and answers. So, and since there's a delay, if you have any questions, get ready to type them in right away, because we don't want to shut off before you had a chance to ask them. And let's see, with that, I think the flower should be up there. And with that, Raluca is going to come right on here in about 10 seconds. Raluca, there you go. See, a lot of them looked at the picture when I said flower and they saw me, so they must be thinking I'm a pretty flower. But, nobody comment on that, folks. Okay, Raluca, you're on.
Hi, everybody. So what we're going to do, we're going to do the Theater of the Imagination session with you tonight. And I want you to get into a comfortable position, and we're going to get started with it. Is the microphone okay this way? Yeah?
Yeah, that's fine.
right, so there we go. Before you begin listening to this session, be sure that you give yourself enough uninterrupted time to sit and listen to it quietly for at least 15 minutes. This session is designed to be listened to while relaxing. Do not listen to it while driving a motor vehicle or doing anything else that might be dangerous. Now turn off any beepers or phones, including cell phones. Put any pets outside the room that you're being hypnotized in, as they may jump on your lap and disturb you during your session. Now sit in a comfortable, out-of-the-way seat, supporting your neck and back preferably. Be sure that there's nothing else in the area that may disturb you during your session. And let's begin. Close your eyes and relax. And take a deep breath. And exhale. And take a second deep breath. And exhale. And on your third deep breath, hold it for about 3 seconds. And exhale and relax. I'm going to have you relax every part of your body, starting from the top of your head all the way down to the bottom of your feet. And as you relax each part of your body, I'd like you to use your imagination to visualize and even feel each part of your body relax and let go completely. Starting with the top of your head, your scalp and your forehead. Your eyebrows and your eyelids. And feel that relaxation going down through your cheeks and nose. Relax your mouth, and especially all those muscles around your mouth and lips. Make sure your teeth are not clenched together, and just relax. Relax your chin and your jaw, and allow all of those muscles in your face to just let go. And your neck relaxes. Starting with the front part of your neck and the back part of your neck. All the way down to your shoulders. Just feel your shoulders relax completely. Get rid of any tension that might be in your shoulder area. It should feel good to do that. And your arms relax. Starting with your upper arms. Going down to your elbows. Relax your wrists, your hands, and even your fingers. Relax and let go. Notice how deep and regular your breathing has become. Just so much more than just a few moments ago when we began. Feel your breathing. Feel the rhythm of your breathing. Notice the contraction and expansion of your diaphragm and your chest. And allow your chest muscles to relax completely. All the way down to your stomach. Just feel your stomach muscles relaxing and letting go. Get rid of any tension that might be in that area. And just allow everything to let go completely. Your back muscles relax. Those larger muscles in the upper part of your back. Going down your spinal column. And into your lower back. And allow all those smaller muscles in the lower part of your back to relax as well. And your hips relax. And especially your legs. Starting with your thighs, your knees, and feel the relaxation going down into your calves and your ankles. Relax your feet. And even your toes. Just relax completely. As you begin to drift into a deep, relaxed state. Just letting yourself go. Letting your mind and body become one. In just a moment, I'm going to count from 20 down to 1. And as I say each number, I'd like you to imagine the number. Think about it and quietly spell the number to yourself, which will help you to deepen your own relaxation. Allowing you to relax at your own pace. So let's begin with 20. And as you spell it, TWENTY, 19, NINETEEN, 18, all the way down deep, 17, 16, 'deeper and deeper, 15. Keep on spelling the numbers to yourself quietly. 14, 'just let yourself go. 13, 12. Give yourself the permission that this is what you want to do. 11, 10. Allow yourself to just let go. 9, 8, deeper and deeper. 7, 6, 5, all the way down deep. 5, 4, 'tired and drowsy. 3, 2, so very relaxed. And finally 1, deep, deep relaxation. As you remain in this relaxed state, I'd like you to use your imagination right now. Imagine or just think about yourself sitting comfortably in front of a large movie screen. And imagine that you are seeing a motion picture of yourself. See it as vividly and in as much detail as possible. See yourself in this motion picture, reacting successfully in the ideal situation, having already have attained your goal. As you're visualizing yourself as this successful person, see yourself as the main actor or lead person on your screen. How do you feel now that you have become the person that you would like to be? Feel the emotions. What would you be feeling? What are you feeling? Maybe confidence, pride, fulfillment, satisfaction, relief, happiness. What emotions are you feeling exactly? Let those emotions fill you up. Let them grow within you. What are you hearing associated with your new goal? What are others maybe saying about you? How do they feel about your accomplishments? I'd also like you to imagine and feel what you think is different. What's different now that you've attained your goal? How has your life have changed? Are you enjoying any more freedoms associated with this attainment? Think about them. Get them clearly in your mind as you imagine yourself standing in front of you on that motion picture screen. See the details. What are you wearing? What are you doing? What else is there that you can notice that is associated with this now orderly achievement? See yourself for just a few more moments, having achieved your new habit. You are in control of your life now. You have created and attained a new positive habit. With the power of your subconscious mind, it is very easy to do. You have allowed the past disorder to fade away like an unwanted memory. And now you move forward. The disorder of the past has been replaced with order. So once again, feel that wonderful sense of satisfaction and achievement. It's coming from your strong subconscious mind. You have created your goal, and through these daily exercises are maintaining it, creating a permanent habit of change. At the count of 5, you will come back to the here and now, feeling wonderful in every way. 1, beginning to come all the way back. 2, coming back, feeling better and better. 3, feeling totally relaxed and comfortable. 4, eyes starting to open now. And 5, eyes wide open, feeling wonderful in every way.
I know I'm feeling wonderful in every way. Okay. While you're all coming back here, let me rearrange the furniture. And yes, I get to scare you while you're all recovering. Ooh. What a thing to see when you first open your eyes, huh? All right. That was Raluca. Thank you, Raluca, for that. And while you're recovering, if you have any questions, that's pretty much what we had here tonight. I had one person guess that that flower was an orchid. It was not an orchid. I'll give you a tip. It's actually not from a plant. It's from a tree. So while you're coming up with your questions, if you could think of what that was. Any questions? Any questions at all? So like I said, you're going to have this script that she used tonight in a PDF format attached to your lesson, so you can use this on your own if you like. A lot of people say, well, should I charge extra for it? If you're charging extra, a lot of times people, no, I don't really want that. So I would just, add it to the price of your lesson. So if you're charging, let's say, $140 a session right now, and you want to make sure you get, covered for that, just say $150 is my price, and that covers a CD if you're going to give them a CD. If you do it as a CD, of course, you can burn it right on your computer. Most Macs and Apples, Macs and PCs have usually built-in programs now today. The majority of computers have that built in, so you can burn, your own CDs, record right on there and burn it. Nice thing about it is when you're making CDs or something like that for hypnosis sessions, again, you don't have to have a real expensive mic. I use what they call the Yeti Blue. It's a $100 mic, but for hypnosis sessions, usually your computer mic or your QuickCam will be nice for it, because they're not looking at song voice, they're looking at being able to get the sessions. Of course, if you make it on your own and you're using background music, again, that masks a lot of the voice out. But yeah, Raluca just typed a message saying question time is now. It looks like no one has questions. And so with that, I'd like to... Oh, Raluca says, you can't leave without telling them what that flower was. Okay. That's actually a cherry blossom. We have a couple of trees we bought last year, and one of them is full of, actually, that was, I think, a couple of weeks ago, because it's full of cherries now. The blossoms are gone. But she took that picture with her cell phone. They're actually, I think the picture of the blossoms are bigger than they actually are in real life, because she got such a close-up. But I think they're a beautiful flower. Now we have all these red cherries all over there, so hopefully we'll get some before the birds do. And with that, thanks everybody for coming, and we will see you in the next webinar. Have a great night.